All right, so we just went outside quick. We got our measurements. So if you're following along, we got 700 square feet of siding. We got one, we like to say, I call it doors or windows. It takes the same amount of time, materials, etc. So you got one window to mask. And then we got 100, I'm sorry, we got 70, nope, oops. We got 140 linear feet, soffit, plus fascia. Okay, so let's break it down from the production rate standpoint, and then we can also do it from the material standpoint. So 700 square feet. So let's go here, power washing, right? So we'll go prep. So the only prep, as I stated in the video, for a vinyl sided building like this is just a straight pressure wash, right? If you remember our last video, our production rate for power washing is 1,200 square feet an hour. So let's call it 0.75 hours. And let's just call it 0.5 hours. So 0.5 hours. Okay. One window to mask. If you remember correctly, the window, I was bidding those or budgeting those as 2 windows per hour. So you got a half hour in masking. Okay, and then that's it for prep on vinyl. Very straightforward. Okay, so you got 700 square feet of siding. Now we're into priming and painting. So again, if you remember correctly, it was only 350 square feet, but we go times 2 because we have to go over it 2 times, just like anything else. We gotta do 2 coats on it, right? So, got 700 square feet here. Our labor time guide suggests that we have 300 square feet per hour. So that means we're at about 2.5 hours of spraying on the siding. Then, as I stated, for soffits and fascia, it is 25 linear feet per hour. So you got 140 linear feet. So 140 divided by 25. So divided by 10 would be 14, divided by 20 would be 7. So we've got about 6 hours, 6.5 hours of soffit / fascia. Now, there's an important thing to highlight here. This is only if the soffit and fascia is an accented color. So we're painting it as it is right now, because currently on this house, the vinyl siding is one color and the soffits and fascia are another color. So, what does it all come down to in hours? So you got a half hour power washing, you got a half hour masking, you got an hour there, you got another, so 0.5, 0.5, got another 2.5 in spraying, another 6.5 in painting soffits. So you got 1, 3.5, so you got 10 hours here. Okay, so our labor rate is $85 an hour, okay? So you have 10 hours times 85. So you're $850 in materials. I'm sorry, $850 in labor without materials. Okay, materials will be cheap here. So we only technically have 840 square feet to cover. So 840 divided by 300 equals about 3 gallons of materials. okay? So if you remember correctly from our other videos, we're paying 50 bucks a gallon on average. So you got another 150 materials, okay? So that puts us right at $1,000 to paint the soffits, the fascia, the soffits fascia, basically the gutter, soffits fascia, and the siding. Okay, so let's check our ass. Cover your ass, just like I did in the other example, right? So we got $150 in materials. That is exactly 15% on the numbers. So you have 150 divided by 1,000. That puts you right at 15%. 15% materials. So let's check our gross margin, right? Pretty straightforward. So you got $850 for labor. So you got $1,000. I gotta clear some of this shit out and run on his face. So again, got $850 materials, $150 in labor. Let's see, $850 plus $150 is $1,000. Okay. So you're gonna take 1,000 minus 150, so that puts you back at 850. Yeah, this is a very profitable portion here. So you have 850 for labor. We get pay our guys times 0.4, 40%. So half would be 275, so it's like $240 for this section, right? Okay. So you got 850. Yeah, so you got 1,000 minus 150 minus 240. So that'd be 850, 650, 610. So this section here, 610 divided by 1,000, this section here, you'd have a 61% gross margin, okay? So let's reverse engineer that a little bit. What is our price floor? So we know that selling it at $1,000 puts us at a 61% gross margin. That's pretty high. So we can tweak the numbers a little bit in order to get the sale, right? So this is a micro example, but okay. So you're at 61% at 1K, okay? So say we decided we were gonna sell this section for $750 only, or $700, okay? Which is, in my opinion, a little more like what it's worth. Maybe more like $650 even. See, it's $700 minus we're still paying the sub. They're $240. Materials are still $150. So that would be minus 200 would be 500 minus 40 would be 560. Should be 410. That's what's remaining. So 410 divided by 700 is still north of our 40% gross margin. It's like 43, 44%. So again, your pricing floor, you could actually have cut a little bit more out of this. So that's, again, the cover your ass portion of this. It's both sides of this, both the production rate and the reasonability factor on the back end are equally as important to get the right number on the job. Because if you go just strictly production rate, dude, at a 61% gross margin, yeah, that's all fine and dandy, but you gotta be realistic, man. We have competition in these markets too. You ain't gonna be selling shit for 61% gross margin all the time. Yeah, every once in a while, one of those falls out of the sky. But the fact is, man, I've been selling in this market for a decade. That's not a thing. Not a thing. So again, we have both of these. They work together like yin and yang to ensure that we have the right numbers on the jobs and we're not gouging. And this is the worst case scenario is we sell this job for a 61% gross margin. We come in and we do it. The client's cousin, brother, neighbor, who's also a painter, comes in and says, you paid what for that? And then all of a sudden you have a negative word of mouth. So again, and this ties back into our 3 remarkable principles, right? Value, providing value for the service, right? And I'm not saying to chintz out. I'm not saying to go low dollar. I'm not saying to do any of that. But what I'm saying is we need to be charging, we need to make a decent profit decently, right? A decent profit decently. So all of this ties together. Pricing, core values, always doing the right thing, playing to win, all that stuff, all ties in, man. It's all like this. So do the right thing.